Greetings, senior representatives of governments, UN entities, international organizations, and civil society, members of the circular economy, industry, private sector, and academia. Thank you so much to UNIDO for extending an invite to me to present this opening statement, but more importantly, to be given the opportunity to give a synopsis of what grassroots climate action and organizing looks like in a developing country. A few years back, as a young woman coming from a developing country, climate action did not make sense to me. I'm going to be quite honest. And I guess my biggest question was, how do we expect poor people to prioritize things like waste management and animal welfare if they're struggling to put food on the table? And in the context of a developing country, how do we expect governments to invest in policy and programming that advances climate action when they are struggling to implement policies and programming that relates to essential things like access to education and health? However, after careful consideration and careful sit down with myself, I started to view climate action as an economic opportunity for human development and an opportunity cost to sustain humanity. It is now that I understand it does not make sense to disregard the environmental integrity of humans because their existence is premised on environmental sustainability. My first attempt at initiating climate action was in 2016. I mobilized young people in Johannesburg in my community, and we worked closely with community leaders to initiate a waste management community project in a poverty-stricken informal settlement. We worked closely with the community to clean up the informal space. We directly involved the actual community, and we encouraged a waste management company and local government to capitalize on the existing labor in the community. This informal settlement is now what I call a waste management community because they engage in recycling, refurbishing of items for resale, and capitalize on other waste management opportunities. The experience was very fulfilling, but it was a confirmation that we can alleviate poverty through environmental sustainability. And that balance was where it was so important because I battled with just understanding why environmental sustainability could be prioritized over human development. And now I understand that human development and environmental sustainability can work hand in hand and actually should work hand in hand. And further then, we started moving in terms of the community work that I do, we started moving into climate efforts that translated into advocacy and campaigning. And I think with COVID-19, we started seeing that a lot of it then translated into digital spaces where activism through arts was actually quite a popular one, where we're using videos, pictures, cartoons, fashion to actually translate the kind of messages that we want, especially to translate to the general public, because the messaging is quite different when you want to speak to the general public about environmental sustainability. And through my work with Restless Development and the African Union, we mentored and supported youth-led social enterprises in developing countries that address climate issues. And we're seeing that social entrepreneurship is quite a great balance between advancing a social development agenda, but also one that allows young people to also advance themselves from an economic perspective. I like to describe myself as more of a human activist rather than a climate activist, but I've grown to see the value of creating systems that work for both climate activism and human activism, because I understand that with no Earth, there are no humans. With no humans, what is Earth? So now I understand even more that environmental sustainability feeds off into essential human rights like the protection of life, human dignity and physical integrity. And my work has also translated now into, rather as a young practicing lawyer and activist, to encourage decision makers into developing countries, country-based climate agendas that are reflective of human development and human life protection. More importantly, policies and programming that are inclusive of youth and also advance the role of women in climate action, because at a grassroots level, they are the ones who are leading effective climate efforts. They need to be included in advancing climate action, whether it's through the support of their work at a grassroots level or through the provision of a seat at the decision-making table to ensure that the kind of policies and programs we are implementing are intersectional and do cover a wide variety of individuals that are impacted by climate change issues globally. With that said, I guess my message is really that of, without the earth, there are no humans, and without humans, what is earth? I'd like to conclude my opening statement. Thank you so much for the opportunity.